3D printing seems to have taken off within the miniatures community, especially over the last 12 months. Now I know that this has been around for longer than that, but with technology constantly getting better and cheaper, more and more people are dipping their toe into 3D printing. That's a metaphorical dipping your toe in, by the way. Don't actually dip your toe in resin. So I figured it's about time that I dive in and get some of this action myself. My name's Josh, and welcome to the Pickle Jar. Oh, and once again, that's a metaphorical diving in. Don't actually dive into resin. Okay. Hi guys, and welcome back to the Pickle Jar for another video. Today, I'm taking my first tentative steps into the world of 3D printing. Now that I've finally decided to get in on the action and try this out for myself, I need to decide what to print. Now, there are literally thousands and millions of miniatures available online to print, from free stuff to paid for stuff to monthly subscriptions, so it can be a little bit daunting when you're first getting into this, just to decide where to start. That's where One Page Rules come in. They reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in trying some of their files for a video, and after looking at their lineup, I was blown away by the detail shown in the images on display. Now, I had heard a lot of good things about One Page Rules in the past, and I took an instant liking to their Saurians, so I agreed and they sent me the files over. Now, at this point, I was still a little bit dubious. I've heard and seen plenty of people have issues with prints, sometimes seemingly for no reason, so I was nervous when loading up my build plate. Now, I did have some help from Luke at Geek Gaming Scenics regarding the settings and stuff for my printer, so I wasn't going in completely blind, and once everything was in place, I held my breath and pressed print. The process up to this point had been pretty smooth sailing. One Page Rules files all come pre-supported, so I didn't have to worry about that side of things, which was a massive relief. Once the print had finished, I washed the models and then brought them downstairs to remove from the supports and clean up. Now, this is where I was most surprised. The models twisted so easily off the supports, not really needing any cleanup afterwards at all. The models themselves are all absolutely fantastic, but the fact that they are pre-supported and just twist off so nice and easy is a massive win for me. And remember, these are my first prints. I'm a total noob here. Once they were all removed and cured, I finally got a chance to look at them properly. Now, the level of detail on these models is absolutely incredible. One Page Rules have a few different factions available, but I was drawn to these as I've always fancied doing Lizardmen in the past, and these are such nice sculpts, and I'm really blown away by the amount of detail on these, even down to like the little things like the feathers and the teeth and things like that, all printed out, no problems at all. Now, at this point, I felt like it'd be rude not to add some paint and really show these guys off. I decided to keep it simple for a change, so no, we're not getting out the airbrush today. I want to demonstrate how easy it is to make these guys look nice, so I decided to go with mainly contrast paints and just add a few extra highlights on top. After a quick spray with Wraithbone, I applied the base colours to all three models. Now, the key to using contrast paint is to take it nice and steady and not to go too over the top too quickly. This way you avoid it running or pooling where you don't want it to, and you have greater control over the end result. The natural shapes on these models really suits contrast paint, and the details such as the scales and the ridges were picked out really well even after a quick base coat. These looked really nice, and I could quite happily have left it just with this, but I do like to add an extra highlight on top of contrast paint just to bring it up a little bit. Now, I am planning on painting more from this range to put a full army using the rules that One Page Rules have on their site. So I've decided to have each unit type in a different colour just to help identify them a little bit easier on the table. Now, once the base coats had dried, I went into each with a highlight just to pick out a few individual scales or edges. Now, contrast paint was advertised as doing base, shadow and highlights, but personally, I don't feel like the highlights it gets are ever quite enough, so I like to go back in and do those myself. While I was doing this and adding a few highlights, I was once again impressed with how sharp the panels were on these models. Now I could have taken the highlights up even further if I was painting them as one-off models, but as I said, these are going to be going on big multi-bases, and when you're doing stuff on multi-bases, you don't need to focus on each individual miniature because it's more about the overall look of the base as a whole. So as long as the models look good in a group, that's the main thing. This is by no means my best painting work, but the point of this is just to show how easy it is to get them painted up to looking up to a decent tabletop standard just using contrast paints, because the models themselves really bring out all the details really nice and easy. With all the scales done, I moved on to all the extra bits of detail on the model. So all I do for this, usually with models like this that I know are going to be painting up quite a few of them, they're going to be very rank and file, I'll just pick a couple of different colours. You don't want to go too over the top with stuff. So in this instance, I'm just picked a brown, and I'm going through and I'm picking out all of the different bits that I think would be brown, such as like the necklaces, the wristbands, any little bits of leather and straps and things like that, and just go through and pick it all out. Now, a lot of people will like to use different colours, so they'd use a few different browns for stuff like this, but I think there's enough difference in like this colour from the scales and then other bits and pieces that it doesn't matter too much that you're using the same brown across all of them, because again, you're looking at the unit as a whole rather than individual models for stuff like this. Now there was a bit of metalwork on them, especially on the veteran, so I decided I wanted to paint these gold using my new favourite combo of a silver metallic and then Yandon yellow contrast paint over the top. Now, I usually do this through the airbrush, but I did want to see if this would work just applying it with a brush as well. The short answer is yes. Yes, it does. It doesn't look quite as nice as through an airbrush, but I think with a little bit more experimentation, there's definitely something there. Look out for a video on that in the future. After all that, it was just a case of picking out all the other little bits of detail, like the straps, the mouths, the eyes. I did go back and apply skeleton horde to the weapons and the shields just to give them a bit more of a natural feel. I really like how these turned out in the end, and I did add a few extra highlights to the shields again, just to add a little bit more depth. These were an absolute joy to work on, and I cannot wait to get some more on my desk and get some paint on them for yet another army in a new system. Now, what do you guys think to the models and the paint job? How do you think I should go with the basing for them? Let me know in the comments down below. I want to give a massive shout out to One Page Rules for sending these over and for sponsoring this video. They really are absolutely gorgeous models, and they have made my first steps into 3D printing a very, very smooth experience, so I can't recommend them enough. If you want to check them out for yourselves, there's links down below for their Patreon as well as their page on My Mini Factory. That's going to do it for this one, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching me go through the process of using the 3D printer for the first time and working on the miniatures that I've printed off from it, and hopefully it's put a few more of you at ease about just how easy it is to get into. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely things to learn and there is a little bit of a sort of nuance to it, but I feel like with companies like One Page Rules providing fantastic miniatures that are supported really, really well, you can't really go wrong. So fingers crossed, more stuff like this in the future. Now that I've finally got a printer, I am so excited for loads and loads of new projects. I've got loads of stuff planned. If there's anything that you guys would like to see me do, let me know down below in the comments and I'll see what I can do. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below, and if you're brand new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with all the stuff we've got coming up in the future. If you want to get more involved with the community, we have a Discord server, link to that down below in the description, and I live stream every Wednesday evening right here on YouTube. If you want to help support the channel, there are a few different ways you can do so. We've got our affiliate and sponsor links down below in the description, along with the links for One Page Rules. Or you can do what all of these amazing people did and join our membership program right here on YouTube. However you choose to support us, it's all massively appreciated, so thank you very much. That's all from me, guys. I'll catch you in the next one, and until then, enjoy your hobby.